Let's catch you up on the summer's headlines. Jack Grealish became the most expensive player in British history after Manchester City bought him from Aston Villa for $139 million. The 25-year-old midfielder made his debut in the Community Shield last weekend and is expected to play on Sunday for City against Spurs. For just a few $1 million less, Romelu Lukaku was signed by Chelsea. The deal went through yesterday and the Belgian returns to the club he joined as a teenager 10 years ago. And it's a signing that now makes Chelsea some people's title favourites. So what of Manchester United? Well, the year-long Jadon Sancho transfer saga finally ended with the England star arriving at Old Trafford for $100 million from Borussia Dortmund. And the fans are also happy with the incoming signing to partner Harry Maguire. Rafael Varane, not official yet, but will soon arrive from Real Madrid. One player who could end up costing more than all of those mentioned already is Harry Kane. Are we in for another protracted transfer that will see him move on the final day of this window? Well, Kane didn't turn up to training when Spurs expected him to and has made no secret of his desire to leave. But as of now, he's still a Tottenham player, but City want him. 4 managers take charge of their first matches with their new clubs this weekend. A couple of familiar faces. Rafa Benitez has crossed the Merseyside divide and is now in charge of Everton. Arsenal legend Patrick Vieira has picked up the reins at Crystal Palace in his first managerial job in England. And Bruno Lage takes over at Wolverhampton Wanderers after Nuno Espirito Santo left for Spurs. Off the pitch, after that harrowing image of Denmark's Christian Eriksen collapsing during Euro 2020 with a cardiac arrest, the Premier League announced in June they would be funding defibrillators for more than 2,000 sites across football, all the way down to grassroots level, in a bid to ensure lives are saved in similar circumstances. And finally, after nearly 18 months away, bar the odd week here or there, the fans are back. Full capacity at every stadium in the Premier League, plenty of noise, the atmosphere's set to be electric. It'll be like the old days, as we're reminded starting today of the importance, the role of the fan plays in the beautiful game. That's caught you up. What about this weekend? How's it looking? Brentford Arsenal is on the way. Let me just give you a little team news. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Alexander Lacazette both unwell, so neither of those can start today for Arsenal in West London. Tomorrow we get things kicked off with Manchester United against Leeds on NBCSN. We are going back to the original schedule, so plenty of 10 a.m. Eastern games. Everton Southampton's on NBCSN. Leicester Wolves is on USA. 3 games, including the European champions Chelsea, taking on Palace. They're on Peacock. On NBC tomorrow at 12:30, it's Norwich, Liverpool, and Sunday both games are on NBCSN. We have a 2-hour build-up from 7 ahead of Newcastle against West Ham and Tottenham against Manchester City. Good afternoon and a warm welcome inside our Premier League studio. I'm Rebecca Lowe. It's been nearly 3 months, but they've been reunited. The 2 Robbies are back. Robbie Mustoe, Robbie Earle. Lovely to see you both. So that was the taster there, Robbie Earle, of the things that have been going on over the course of the summer. What's the top of your mind?
The top of my mind, Rebecca, is the best league in the world has just got stronger. Fans being back in the stadium will elevate the football we see on the pitch. And when you talk about what we see on the pitch, I look at the big 4 teams, the 2 Manchesters, Liverpool and Chelsea. We thought this might be a summer with pandemics and revenues down where people didn't spend. Everybody's bulked up. Everybody spent money. Everybody looks stronger. I look at that front 4, Rebecca, and I'm starting to struggle which one I really fancy, because if one gets off to a good start, they could go all the way. It's just one of those summers where every team looks stronger, every team looks ready to go. And
they had to, Robbie Mustoe, didn't they? Because Manchester City winning by 12 points last season, the others had to do something.
Yeah, and they have. And big spending, big clubs and big improvements. And I think when you consider the last 2 or 3 years in the Premier League, it's been Man City, Liverpool, and they've been very, very strong. The others had to improve, and they really, really have. Manchester United have fixed problems. Centre-back in Rafael Varane isn't confirmed yet, I believe, but is going to sign for the football club. Is a world-class centre-back. Jadon Sancho solves a problem at right side of midfield that's been there for years on the right side for Man United. Chelsea, we saw them last year, dominate, improve under the new manager Tuchel, but just didn't score enough goals given the chances that they had. I've got a Robbie Earle term, a plug-and-play striker, and Romelu Lukaku comes back to the club. They are better. When you, again, like you're trying to consider the title race and who's going to win it, every owner of those 4 clubs, and Liverpool spent a little bit in a new centre-back,
but the injuries
will
come back
believe
for Liverpool's.
so that's an improvement. So every owner will believe that their team and the fans can absolutely win the title this season.
Before kick-off, by the way, in West London, we are going to touch on every single Premier League team and talk about their season, both here and across the pond as well. And, Robbie, when you look at those big 4 that they've all strengthened, what about the rest of the league? How are they all going to shake out?
It's an interesting one, Rebecca, because we say it's an open title race, if you think, with those 4. It's an open league this year. I look at certain clubs. I've written a couple down. I said Palace, Wolves, Southampton, Burnley. The kind of teams that, if things go well, they could finish 6th or 7th. If things go badly, they could be 16th or 17th. You just don't know this season what's going to happen. Rafa Benitez has gone in at Everton. Nuno Santos has gone in at Spurs. Like, what are they going to do with big clubs who are ambition? There's just this feeling where the league could be anything this year, and that makes it so different, so special. And
Nuno's got a big problem on his hands, has he not, with the situation surrounding Harry Kane. How do you feel about the Kane situation?
Well, I feel frustrated about it, and I'm sure the fans do as well. There's a kind of thought that, you know what, he's done an amazing job for us. We expect him to move on. Daniel Levy, absolutely not. Not unless we get top dollar for him. The problem I think that I have with that is that the manager is trying to plan for a new season. He's thinking, is he going to be there? Is he not going to be there? Do I get the money in the market? If he leaves it too late, Rob, then it's right at the end of the window. He won't have time to buy new players. So this is a real problem for Spurs.
Well, Daniel Levy might not want to spend the money, Rebecca. Spurs have lost a lot of money over the pandemic with this new stadium, etc., etc. Harry Kane, if that number gets to anywhere near £150 million, will go. We know Daniel Levy. We know how Man City work. He will leave at the end of August.
And that will affect the title race. I mean, if he does go to City, Rebecca, wow.
That's them ready to go.
Yeah.
August the 31st is the final day of the transfer window. And, of course, we will be live for any Harry Kane goings-on if it hasn't happened up to then. Now, we have the full complement of our NBC team in position in Brentford at the Brentford Community Stadium as we head into our 9th season together, chaps. Graham Lasso, Lee Dixon and Arlo White. Over to you, chaps.
Thanks, Rebecca. One more season, we get a testimonial, chaps, and a goal watch each, don't we? Let's hope we get there. Well, the pitch side desk is back. That's great news to start with, and we'll be watching all the warm-ups of the players of Brentford at Arsenal later on today. The community stadium is starting to fill with the first fans. That's fantastic. Just less than 18,000 fit into this season-old stadium here for Brentford. Gentlemen, picking up on what the Robbies were talking about, what grabbed you in terms of headlines in the off-season, Graham?
Yeah, I think the focus of specific clubs spending huge amounts of money on very talented, specific individual players, and I think it's that sort of that pyramid as you go up, the sort of the ability of players. That just the numbers are mouth-watering, especially against the backdrop of last season with the European Super League noise, the pandemic and the impact of finances on all clubs, that you've got teams like Manchester United, Manchester City and Chelsea spending such huge amounts of money on players that they feel can really make the difference. I think Lukaku at Chelsea, they've done so well under Tuchel defensively. Only 3 losses in those final 19 games that he was in charge. And if there's one thing throughout that sort of run-in that Chelsea had, you said that Chelsea would need in the summer, was a striker. And with Lukaku for nearly 100 million, you're looking at someone who they'll be expecting to score 20 goals a season. So I think that suddenly puts them, in terms of their on-field sort of shape, suddenly looks like the complete picture for me for Chelsea. They could really be a threat.
I have been surprised a little bit with the amount of money that's been spent. I thought it would be toned down a little bit, but we've been blown out of the water with some of those figures, and there might be a bigger one yet to come, just around the corner.
I mentioned it just now. We saw 1 or 2 fans who have got here a little bit earlier to get a taste. Now, Euro 2020 was phenomenal during the summer in this country. England got to the final at Wembley, lost to Italy on penalties, but the whole nation was gripped with the fortunes of the 3 Lions. Thomas Frank, the manager of Brentford, said the atmosphere tonight is going to be similar to the atmosphere at Wembley for the semi-final against Denmark and the final against Italy. What sort of difference does it make, Lee? You were at a lot of those games, weren't you?
It's huge. I think we've got a new signing this summer, the start of the season, and it's adrenaline, and that's all coming from the fans, because players get themselves up for games. There's no doubt about that. Well, they got used to playing without supporters, but there's something special about running out before the game is even kicked off at 3 o'clock or whenever you're kicking off. That 5 minutes before the game was my the best moment of my football careers. Was that 5-3 before I'd made a mistake, before I'd done something wrong. It's that, and the fans make that. They make you play in a different way. They make managers coach differently. They make decisions for managers. When they start getting on the back of players, all of a sudden the coach gets a nod. We need to make a change. So it changes the whole dynamics. And I think tonight you're going to see something. I'm an Arsenal fan, obviously, but I've got a season ticket here. I'm a kind of Brentford fan as well. I love the club. I think what you're going to see here is something a little bit special, and Thomas Frank's got a group of players now who's going to take this club and they are going to attack the Premier League. Make no mistake about that.
And leading on from that, I think it's the connection between the stands and the pitch, and that gets the best out of people. It sets a demand, it sets a standard, an expectation. That's always something that I think has been really special about the Premier League and the First Division when we first started playing football. The atmosphere that was created, the demands from the crowds was so important. And players either thrive on that or they buckle. So you're going to see different players performing differently now that crowds are back. It's absolutely fantastic.
Well, there we go. Rebecca, I got a new jacket for the new season. Lee got a new mullet. Graham, similar perfection to last season already.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe. Make sure you subscribe to watch highlights all season long and join us at the weekend at 7 a.m. Eastern on NBCSN for Premier League mornings, and sign up for Peacock Premium, where you'll have access to 175 exclusive live games all season long.